Hello everyone and welcome to another video of the channel DoopTube. And today we're gonna do something completely different. About a year ago I uploaded the video the top 10 Walking Dead characters that are definitely gonna die. And now looking back on that video, I don't really agree with it anymore. And so I have decided to make another video, only this time I'm not gonna do a top 10, I'm just gonna make a full list of every character that I still think is gonna die. And now before we get started, I just wanna give away some big rules. I am not gonna talk about any character that has been confirmed to be introduced, but isn't yet introduced, like Brandon or Dante. I am also not gonna talk about the characters that have moved from The Walking Dead to Fear the Walking Dead, like Morgan or Dwight. And I'm also not gonna talk about the characters whose status of being alive or being not alive is still unknown. Like for example, Rick, Anne, also known as Jadis, Mackie, or Heat. And by that I also want to give away a big spoiler alert, since I will be talking about potential spoilers for the Walking Dead comics and show. So don't watch this video if you're not up to date with the Walking Dead show or comics. Above all here, then let's get started. Starting off with the King Ezekiel. Ezekiel is definitely gonna die. He may have survived his comic book death. Like in the comics, he was actually part of the bike victims. However, that didn't happen on the TV show as we saw in season 9. No, instead of that, Ezekiel is gonna die a little bit later. Instead of dying during the Pike lineup, he's gonna die during the war. And which war am I talking about? Well, the Whisper War, of course, which will most likely happen during the second half of season 10, or maybe even during the first half, who knows. However, Ezekiel is most likely gonna die during season 10, and that's not just because they're kind of setting it up with some foreshadowing. It's also because Ezekiel may have survived his comic book death, but there's a big chance that he may die in the future, because that also happened to Abraham. Abraham survived his comic book death, but he eventually died a little bit later. And that is exactly what's gonna happen to Ezekiel. He is gonna die somewhere during the war, and we don't know exactly how, but we know it will be in an epic, heroic way. Next is the Queen, Carol. Carol is definitely gonna die whether you like it or not. It may not happen right now in season 10, but it will happen eventually. Maybe it will be in the last season, maybe it will be in the finale, who knows. However, Carol's death is definitely happening, and that's mostly because she's like the grandma of the group. And as we know from way back, Herschel was the grandpa of the group. Herschel died in season 4 during the war, and we know that Carol is safe. She won't die during the Whisper War in season 10. However, she will die way later, I think near the end of The Walking Dead, in the final season maybe, or maybe even in the finale. However, Carol's death is definitely coming, and that's mostly to develop both Daryl and a lot of other characters, like maybe Lydia if she's still around, which I believe she is. And yeah, it's gonna be hard to see in the big screen, to see her die, because she is a beloved character, she's a fan favorite, but we all know it's happening. And we don't know exactly how she's gonna go out, but we know that it's going to be epic, heroic, climactic and respectable to the character. Then we have Jerry and his family. Jerry may survive season 10, but his family is definitely gonna die during season 10. They will get killed during the Whisper War by the Whispers or by walkers, who knows. And Jerry will probably die a little bit later, somewhere during the Whisper War, or in season 11 or 12, or during the Commonwealth storylines. We don't know exactly when Jerry is gonna die, but it's definitely gonna happen, and most likely it's gonna happen during a battle scene or something like that. Then with Eugene. Eugene may have survived the Walking Dead comics, but on the show he's definitely not safe because he's a guy who likes to play both sides. And in the comics, he didn't really do that. However, in the show, he definitely did that. And those characters who play both sides will eventually get themselves killed. And this will most likely happen during season 12 or 11 or maybe even season 13 if that season is ever going to be released. I don't think it is. I think The Walking Dead will stop after season 12, but who knows? Anyway, Eugene is most likely gonna die by getting himself killed. Then we have Rosita. Rosita is most likely gonna die during season 10. And that's because the actors will be in a Netflix original. And that Netflix original is gonna be filmed in Los Angeles. And The Walking Dead is filmed in Virginia and Washington. And so the actors who plays Rosita is not gonna be able to do both The Walking Dead and a Netflix original. So I believe that Rosita is most likely gonna die during the war. And if she doesn't die during the war, then she will most likely die during season 11 or 12, because she is gonna die eventually. And just like Ezekiel, she also outlived her comic book death, but that means that she may die a little bit later. And so Rosita is gonna die, but it won't be anticlimactic to the character. It will be epic, it will be great, it will be heroic, and maybe she will even sacrifice herself for the greater good. Who knows? Then we have Gabriel. Gabriel died in the comics during the Whisper War, and we don't know for sure if that will happen on the Walking Dead show. It could happen. However, I don't think that Gabriel is gonna get his comic book death. I believe that someone else will get that, which I will talk about a little bit later. However, Gabriel is gonna die eventually. Maybe he will outlive his comic book death, but he is gonna die somewhere during season 10, 11, or 12. And that's mostly because The Walking Dead's kind of setting it up with some foreshadowing, and also because there were some rumors that the actor who plays Gabriel may want to quit The Walking Dead altogether. Also, Gabriel has done some bad things and some good things, so eventually, even though he has redeemed himself as a character, we first didn't like him, but now we do, he will eventually die, because those characters who redeem themselves eventually sacrifice themselves for the greater good, and that may definitely happen with Gabriel. Then we have Sadiq. And Sadiq is most likely gonna get the Gabriel death from the comics. He's gonna stand on a wall tower, fall off the wall tower, get stuck with his foot on the ladder of the wall tower, and then gets stabbed by Beta, who slices his stomach open, and then Sadiq is left to be eaten by walkers. And that's most likely gonna happen. If not, then Sadiq will most likely die somewhere during season 11 or 12. because it's happening whether you like it or not. I mean, we know that The Walking Dead likes to kill off their only doctors, and Sadiq is a doctor, so yeah, Sadiq is gonna die. And yes, Carl may have sacrificed himself to save Sadiq. However, that won't mean that if Sadiq dies, that Carl's legacy won't live on. That's not true. Carl didn't die to save Sadiq. Carl died to make something pretty much clear. I already talked about this in my previous video, but I'm just gonna talk about it again. Carl didn't die to save Sadiq. Carl died to make clear to the people of the apocalypse that there are still good people out there, like Sadiq. And so, if Sadiq dies, that won't mean that Carl is forgotten forever. Then we have Alden and Luke. Luke is definitely gonna die during The Walking Dead Season 10, we know that. And Alden may not die during Season 10, but he will die somewhere in the near future, getting himself killed during a duel fight with someone like, I don't know, Sebastian from the Commonwealth, who knows. What's gonna happen with Alden? We don't know, but there is a big chance that he will get himself killed eventually. Then we have Kelly. Kelly is rumored to be killed off during Season 10, Episode 9 or 8. And I believe that that's most likely gonna happen because a lot of those rumors about The Walking Dead later turn out to be true. And I believe that this one is gonna be true as well. Then we have Laura. As I told you in some of my previous Walking Dead videos, Laura is gonna get killed by Alpha, so that Alpha can make clear that our heroes shouldn't mess with the Whispers. Then we have Alpha and Beta. Alpha and Beta will most likely die during The Walking Dead Season 10 during the Whisper War. And that's mostly because The Walking Dead has been talking about sciencing the Whispers. And what does that mean? Well, it means that our heroes are gonna silence the Whispers. And that means that they're gonna kill them. That's right, our heroes are gonna kill the Whispers. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. And those include both Beta and Alpha. Alpha is most likely gonna get killed by either Gabriel or Negan. And Beta is gonna get killed by Daryl or Negan or Aaron, I believe. Finally, we have Negan. Negan is one of the most interesting characters on The Walking Dead, and one of the most complicated ones. We don't know exactly which side he is on right now. We believe he's turning into a good guy. We don't know, but we do know for sure that he won't be fighting alongside the Whispers during The Walking Dead Season 10. No, I believe that he will be against the Whispers, and that he may even die during The Walking Dead Season 10. I know that in my previous video I told you guys that he may survive The Walking Dead Season 10, but I mostly thought that because if he dies too, then there are too many casualties for The Walking Dead Season 10. And so, yeah, I am actually not really sure whether or not Negan will die during Season 10. There's a big chance that he will go out by sacrificing himself for the greater good. However, there's also a chance that he may get killed by someone like Beta or Alpha or some other Whisper. So it's hard to see how exactly Negan is gonna die or exactly when he's gonna die, but we know that's happening. We know that it is most likely gonna happen during a battle scene. We don't even... And that it is going to be one of the biggest scenes on The Walking Dead ever. That was my video about the Walking Dead characters that are definitely gonna die. I hope you enjoyed. Tell in comments below who you believe is gonna die in the future of The Walking Dead. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.